You're listening to Recovery Survey, the podcast that shatters stigmas around different types of addictions and takes a deep dive into spiritual principles.
I find a lot of wisdom that comes from your show. You interview different people, and I know you just do an overall good job, and you're a blessing to recovery in general. So I want to make that very clear for the record that I love the movement that you have, what you're doing. You're saving lives, and you're educating and informing people. And I think that's important.
I want to thank my friends at Recovery Survey for giving me the opportunity to talk to them about my recovery journey.
Thank you for having me on the new podcast that you just developed, which is unbelievable, Recovery Survey Podcast. I really appreciate what you're doing and been doing and continue doing.
I'm super excited about today's show. My guests are Chris and JD. They are the founders of Fearless Recovery MMA. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, my name is Chris Rodriguez. I was active duty in the Marine Corps. Started martial arts when I was a kid. I lived in Japan for a few years. JD and I had a fight team. We actually grew up together. I met JD actually when I was like 15. Once I went into the Marine Corps, man, just the culture of active duty, military stressors and things, I started drinking and partying, and your typical young man out on his own for the first time, kind of doing what he wanted and not spending a lot of time being productive in like more positive outlets. So I kind of turned to alcohol and kind of got away from training and stuff like that. And right around 35, I'd finished with the Marine Corps, and I was coaching at an MMA gym, and JD and I had already had like a fight team for a while and stuff. I just realized I just stopped drinking, but I realized that I was using exercise as an alternative to channel some of my energy in a more productive way to get away from doing like the drugs and alcohol thing. And that's when we really started looking into how is this a more positive kind of outlet for maybe somebody who doesn't want to go like your traditional therapy, AA type of treatment, and how it's able to really help us through the process of kind of working together and that mind, body, soul connection through training.
I reached out to you guys because you're the only martial arts recovery page I could find, and I thought that was really cool. I do jiu-jitsu myself, so I thought it would be awesome to have a conversation.
I guess I'll start first with my introduction, JD, one of the co-founders of Fearless Recovery MMA. I also had the kind of same background as Chris, born just outside of Cleveland. I was the only white boy in town, and by that means I had to fight a lot. So to move out of Cleveland, we moved to a little town outside of Dayton, Ohio, which was nothing but cornfields. And essentially that just made me the only black boy. I'm in between both worlds, I guess, with my dad's family being from Cleveland and my mom's family being from Tennessee. I'd like to describe myself as the perfect blend of hillbilly and hood rat. So it was tough growing up. I mean, I don't think anybody had a perfect childhood, but once we started focusing on training, and I spent a lot of years in karate, and then Chris and I started taking kung fu together and Muay Thai, and then we found jiu-jitsu, and it was just man, this is great. Competed in a couple events, and it was, really that was my addiction until, Chris got out, and then we ended up moving in together. And we just went wild for so long. We use a statement a lot that there's celebrities that didn't party like we did. The events that fell into place, the timing of it was just so ironic that when Chris decided to stop drinking is around the same time where I got my DUI. During the DUI process in Florida, you're immediately frowned upon. It's hard to get out of this DUI umbrella that you're now in. I had to go to alcohol therapy. When Chris started focusing on getting sober, I was in the alcohol therapy classes in Florida. There is no prejudice against the level of crime that you've done. So me being first time DUI, ended up in a therapy class with convicted felons of possession of cocaine, 2 pounds of weed. And during this therapy class, I'm just sitting back and kind of looking over it. Like, I'm not really in the class. I'm looking over, just thinking like, these guys deserve better, man. Like, they got problems, and I'm not saying I don't, but there's got to be something better for them than being in this room and listening to this therapist who essentially spent all her time talking about her daily diet, and she was a bigger person, but how she just loved apple fritters, man. And I just didn't see the value in this, and it really got under my skin. Like, half these guys would just take the second and just beat the shit out of this lady at any given moment, but yet they have to be in this class just to get back to their regular life. You know, we started working together, and, you know, countless hours of research and how MMA and boxing and jiu-jitsu helps with develop your prefrontal cortex for, you know, impulse control and stuff like that. And just for someone to pause before they do the 1-2 and the slip in a 2, to have that moment of pause and know to wait, I think it's very beneficial for them out in the real world, just to have that 1 second of like, no, I'm not going to put that needle in my arm today.
One of the questions I had is, do you guys implement any kind of steps or any kind of recovery literature or programs or anything into the gym, or is it just strictly MMA?
A lot of our stuff and with the curriculum that we have now is a step program. When we get in, it's basically the stance. You know what I mean? We're not just getting guys out of the street and bringing them in and putting gloves on them and going to work. We like to teach from literally the toes to the feet to the knees. I mean, from the ground up. So just the basics, starting from scratch, I think is also essential with new people coming in.
And then I don't know if you've ever heard of an organization called MVP, which is Merging Vets and Players. I actually helped start the one in Atlanta with Nate Boyer, Jay Glazier, Randy Couture. There's a gentleman named Manu Natoa, whose gym it's at in Smyrna, Georgia, which is basically Atlanta. Their platform is a workout, and then they have a mat chat. So it allows you to get a workout in, and then instead of just finishing up the workout, kind of create that one-on-one locker room experience where you can kind of talk about your day, talk about your experiences, talk about things that are bothering you. So you've got other like-minded individuals. Their focus is combat veterans and professional athletes after wearing a uniform, but we kind of can implement the same tactics on people with addictions. So, a bigger body of life, and say, hey, we're going to work out. We're going to show you some of the fundamentals. We're going to allow you to kind of release some of that frustration and get that sweat, get those endorphins and, a lot of that dopamine sensor that happens with exercise. We're going to get all that going, get you feeling good. And then at the end of this workout, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about shit that's bothering us.
What kind of benefits have you guys seen personally in your recovery journey now that you're doing the mixed martial arts?
I think one of the things that and Chris and I have talked about this too. It's just the cognitive thought, like you're not waking up like, oh man, another day at work, and the hangover experience, like it's just easier.
Just that feeling of having something to look forward to. I didn't mention this. I'm getting a master's in addiction and recovery. So I'm kind of studying behaviors, and I actually taught cognitive behavioral therapy for the county to juveniles. But it's really just allowing people to have the ability to make those clear choices and thoughts, and to be able to express themselves and to kind of talk it through other people who have experienced the same thing, instead of sitting on a couch with a therapist or sitting in a group setting, where you're kind of feeling like I'm the bad guy. When we're kind of in we're the environment, we're all kind of the bad guy. And there's not that one head figure who's kind of here to like tell you, be like, I'm the authority figure. Like it's not that environment. Like we're all in the same place. Maybe more like a root or like a tree when you cut it. Like I may have more rings because I've got 8 years sober now, where you have 2 years sober. But I was 2 years sober. I'm still 2 years sober, even though I'm 8 years sober. So just the thought of like, man, it's a tough week. I can freaking, on Thursday, I'm going to go and roll around on the mat, and I can kind of save some of my thoughts that I've been having since Monday. And when I'm done on the mat, I know I'm going to sit down and talk about shit that's been bothering me for like the last 3 days or 4 days or whatever. Or, hey, it's Tuesday, I'm pissed off, I want to go freaking buy a six-pack or a case of beer, but instead I'm going to put myself through these exercises that I've learned, because I can do these on my own. I can still practice and work up a sweat, and having that tool to say, this is another outlet for me to channel my energy in a positive way, that I've gotten more tools that I've developed, that I don't feel like such a bitch that I got to go sit with a therapist. I can actually, if I'm feeling like shit today and I want to go grab some beer because I'm having a bad freaking week, you know what? I might just go run, or I might just knock out some push-ups, or I might practice the freaking omoplata, or do some shrimp drills, or I might go in my garage and do something, something that I was taught, or a strike or a punch or a kick or something that I've learned. And then when I get to class, I can bring that to the table and be like, man, I was having a terrible week, and it was Tuesday. Here I am Thursday, and we're all back together, and it's like I'm in my safe place. I can talk about Tuesday and what I had to do to get through Tuesday. No one's going to judge me, because I know somebody else here had a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Monday or a Sunday or whatever. So it's like, how many like-minded individuals can be in an environment working up those parts of the brain to stimulate yourself in a positive way, right? In essence, addiction is just really an outlet. So it's almost like creating a different type of an addiction, but in a healthy, it's like a wellness in a healthy way. Like,
yeah, there's more benefits for it.
There's more benefit for it. Why isn't this part of something that is everywhere, right? Because what do? We like to treat people with medications or these therapy, let me go talk to somebody who's never been through what I've been through, because they get paid to do this,
Absolutely. That's one of the points that I wanted to make too, is that when I was in that class, you just dreaded the circle conversation, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, okay, I'm 6 people away, what am I going to say? And you're thinking, and it's just like, God, I don't even want to be here, man. Like, I'm starting to get pissed. And now it's 5 people away, and they're getting closer to me, and I'm going to have to say something, or I can't get back to having my driver's license, or get back to my regular life. Like, being in that type of environment, it just really, it didn't help me at all. What it did is piss me off. There was no value, and value is what I like to focus on what we're doing here. The benefits are great, but the actual value of being able to turn away from a substance and help with the impulse control just by, some action-based induction therapy, it's all about the value to me, because sitting in a room full of people and listening to this one person who's supposed to be the leader talk, and the only thing she has to say is, like I said, her obsession with apple fritters really just pissed me off.
I can totally relate to that. I've been to similar classes and had similar experiences with counselors or whatever that had no idea what it was like, and just having to go to those classes as like as stipulations for probation and stuff. Like I totally get it, man. It definitely sucks.
Yeah, and I don't think, and I had to also take anger management therapy, and I'm telling everybody, like, you guys, I haven't learned anything from it. From the alcohol therapy, this was a complete waste of my time. I'm just required to be here. It didn't change my outlook on anything, but yet, I grapple around with the guys and, hold the focus mitts or work the focus mitts, and I leave feeling just 10 times better. And I mean, there's something to that. And it's beneficial not only from a health perspective, but the numbers and data that we've looked at through countless studies, it's also mentally healthy as well.
I don't think we talk about it enough in recovery, just the benefits that we get from exercise. And I didn't start doing jiu-jitsu until later on in my recovery. And I got a little over 5 years clean, so it took me a while to
Nice.
see the benefits of exercise in recovery. But I see a lot of benefits from doing jiu-jitsu. I just feel good when it's over, man, because like I'm exhausted because I put everything on the mat. But man, like I feel good at the end of the night, and I look forward to going back.
And that's also one thing. When we first started this, we would talk about Joe Rogan's podcast and how he speaks about, a guy that just PR'd in the gym. He's going to be easier to talk to, than a person who hasn't, you know what I mean? Who just doesn't exercise and drinks every night. And there's just something about being a cooler guy after you've physically done so much. Mentally, everything else, it's easy. Yeah, so then we started reaching out to a couple other people, and surprisingly, one of the guys who had an immediate response was John Hackelman, and he was Chuck Liddell's head coach from the Pit in Las Vegas, and he called me, and I was literally just like a 13-year-old girl on the phone, like, oh my God, it's John Ackelman's calling my phone. And we talked for a while, man, and it was great to hear his feedback on it, because he was really adamant because he has a lot of fighters that are fighting addiction now in his camp. So he calls every once in a while, and we still catch up. But his favorite quote to me was, you guys are doing great. And it's not only the person that has the addiction that you're helping, it's their mom and their brother who they used to steal from. And you know what I mean? It's not only the person going through the addiction that we're benefiting by just physical, mixed martial arts. I think it's great. Like you said in the beginning, there's not anyone else. I believe that the closest thing is a recovery house in, I want to say, California, and they just do the action-based induction therapy with, I think it's like Navy SEAL training or something like that, but it's not anything that's going to benefit you out on the street. You know what I mean? If somebody tries to, rob you or anything. And just like that, it's just the confidence boost that some exercises don't give you. And just the fact that not a lot of people are exposed or even know that just practicing mixed martial arts will help you in recovery. I mean, the numbers on that are just insane. And, some of the things that Chris was doing with MVP, the numbers are just off that. I mean, I'm just like, dude, we're on to something here, man. We just got to keep this momentum going and, keep up with the Instagram posts and keep up I work a lot with the local recovery centers here with survivors of addiction here in Dunedin, Florida, and, consistently trying to keep the guys up to date with the numbers and try to pull them in and even come to them. There's sometimes where, I packed up a suitcase full of, headgear, Muay Thai pads and focus mitts. And I went over to their house and we laid it out in the backyard and couldn't have went better. So not only do we have a place where we go and all come together, but like Chris was saying earlier, if you're having a bad Tuesday, man, and them Tuesdays happen to everybody, even if it's not on a Tuesday, you know what I'm talking about. Those damn Tuesdays happen. And, I'm portable. I'll throw all my shit in the bag and I'll come out to you and we'll work out in your garage or your living room. It's just this opportunity where I think Chris and I are so passionate and we just can't pass this up now.
I just wish there was more awareness to this type of thing. I mean, I know that the science is out there, the information's out there. It's really just getting kind of the word out there and really just getting gyms involved, volunteering their time or whatever, to where we could kind of create these little programs in little pockets of the world outside of just our locations. This is something that is beneficial that could be used anywhere. I had a program at the VA where I'm at that I was doing the same stuff with. It's just networking, but unfortunately, like we have jobs and stuff, so like doing something like this full time would be ideal. But there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of networking involved and a lot of cost. You know what I mean? It's cool to be able to go to somebody's house and stuff, but it's ideal to have that one spot where you could kind of meet up on that, whatever day. It's hard to find out like what grant programs or what grants are available for you to like use to like kind of fund these projects to really get something to where you can really have a lot of momentum, because you have like that financial backing to where you could be like, all right, now I'm going in 100% on this thing. You know what I mean? Instead of like this little part-time thing where it's just like, a couple of guys who like to be a little rowdy, who've got some addiction problems, trying to find other guys who like to be rowdy with some addiction problems. And we're all just trying to, hey, let's go beat the shit out of each other for a little bit so we feel better. I call it gym therapy. And then let's hang out and talk about, whatever's going on. Let's make it a real thing.
Yeah, the financing is definitely one of our burdens, because essentially, this has been funded just by Chris and I, and the money that we do get goes right back in. So
yeah, we've had some donations.
We've had some, and thankful for the ones that we had, especially because we were in a tough spot then. And there's a donation place on the website, fearlessrecoverymma.com. All the links to the social media, Instagram and Facebook, are on there too. So yeah, definitely get the word out.
I'm a veteran, so I know veterans are jacked up just because of the culture of the military, the history of just the last 20 years of just sustained conflict that we have had. A lot of people are messed up feeling, and then just the nature of the world we're in right now. A lot of people are hurting and a lot of people are looking for outlets. And I feel like people in the martial arts arena know the benefits of martial arts and exercise and the discipline and all that comes along with it. It's taking that and adding that extra piece of that camaraderie, of that brotherhood, of like sitting down with like-minded individuals afterwards and being like, all right, let's have a little bit of mat chat and talk about like what's really pissing us off today, or what's causing us to want to relapse. Or I think that safe environment of like being amongst other people, not in a clinical type of feeling, allows you to kind of talk more freely without feeling like you're being scrutinized by somebody. You know what I mean? Like if we talk about fucked up shit we've done just amongst the three of us, like how wild and crazy we are, we might laugh. We're laughing like, yeah, like that shit was crazy. Like, yeah, oh my God. Like I did so much cocaine, I thought a horse, like I could kill a horse. And like, man, those were some wild times. And like, feeling those urges and like laughing and being like, dude, we've come so far, and like motivating each other to like continue on our progress path, and just like looking back at each individual person's history, and just, it's kind of like if we're sitting around in a circle and it's like we're all kind of quiet and this lady's kind of dictating how this thing's going to run, and we're all kind of telling our stories, and I don't know this guy next to me. We all just show up here and we go our own separate ways. Okay, great. But if we're all going to come into the gym and beat the shit out of each other and start talking, and like afterwards, it's like, dude, good job today, fucking kicking my ass. Like, I can tell some improvement from last week. Shit's awesome. Like, you fucking kind of hurt me a little bit. You pinned my ass quick as hell. Like, nice job. And then we just kind of go into like, yeah, man, like, damn, it was Tuesday. I thought it was Friday. Like, I'm saying that because that's how I felt this week. Fucking Tuesday. I was like, is it Friday? Because this week sucks. And my boy was like, it's Tuesday. And I'm like, I know. That's how bad the week is already. Just having that ability to just kind of be like, yeah, man, like, we'll get through it. And like, you're with your boys and like promoting positivity in a way that's not destructive to your own self. Because you already destroyed yourself on the mat or like in the ring, or like, there's something about that, especially for like an alpha type mentality or alpha type males. Like, we need to channel our energy in a more physical kind of a way, because it allows us to kind of lower our guard to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability is something that is hard to let go of in like that setting where you're sitting in a group with fucking 8 other assholes, and we're all here because we have to be. We're paying this fucking lady $150. It's a punishment. And there's no value, just like JD was talking about. There's no value to it. Like, at least the value in this is I'm getting shit off my chest and I'm comfortable. Even if it's my first day and I don't want to say shit, that's cool. I've listened to everybody else. I guarantee you more people talk on the mat than they ever do in those type of punishment, clinical, court-ordered settings. Once you've done and gone through, it's just like military. Once we've battled with each other, that bond that happens, you can't deny that. Like, there's a thing that happens. You know what I mean? And if you've trained jiu-jitsu, you know what it's like to get in there and to work your ass off and to be like, holy shit, it's only been 25 minutes. Like, or I don't know where you train at, or it's like, all right, all the white belts with the blue belts, you're going to go round table. Like, everyone's going to fucking just go.
Or gauntlet, yeah.
Gauntlet, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes.
You get a fresh guy every 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're like, and at the end of that, you're covered in sweat. You're bruised. You feel fucking awesome. And then it's like, hey, man, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that ass whooping today. Like, that was awesome. I learned something.
It's one other thing I wanted to tap on too, is just the addiction. I've also been exposed to people, who come to me and their addiction is not drug and alcohol. I mean, it's work, it's cleaning the house, and they're just honestly looking for an outlet as well. It doesn't have to be a drug and alcohol addiction that you have. I mean, an outlet is an outlet. So, and an addiction is an addiction. I mean, that's across the board. There's no prejudice. Once the addiction has its claws in, it doesn't matter what it is. Once it has you, Fearless MMA is here, man.
You guys want to wrap it up? You want to shout out your social media and website again?
Yeah, the Instagram is Fearless Recovery MMA. The website is fearlessrecoverymma.com, and the Facebook is Fearless Recovery MMA. So you guys look us up, check us out, follow us. If you're in Pinellas County, whatever, give me a call. And, if can't make it out to the gym, man, I can come to you. I'm here to help. And I think that this is way too beneficial for human beings to not get in. You know what I mean? I haven't heard anybody say, man, this idea is stupid. Only gotten positive feedback from this. So I can't wait for this to get bigger. I'm excited.
For anybody that's listening that hasn't tried jiu-jitsu and is interested, man, just go try it. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Chris and JD, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing with us about the work you're doing with Fearless Recovery MMA. I'm really excited about what you guys are doing. If you guys want to get in contact with Chris or JD, as always, their contact information will be in the show notes. Thanks again, guys. You've been listening to Recovery Survey. If you got anything out of today's episode, I'd ask you to please leave us a 5-star review and share this episode with a friend. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can find us at recoverysurvey.com. You can listen to all of our episodes on the website, as well as connect with us on social media, where you can get previews for upcoming episodes. Hey guys, I wanted to let you know about an exciting new partnership with Broken Chains Apparel. They're a custom online shirt retailer that designs cool shirts for people in recovery. They want you to be proud of your recovery and wear it boldly. They're offering our listeners a 20% discount. All you have to do is use the promo code RECOVERY at checkout. Go grab your shirts today at brokenchainsapparel.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Broken Chains Apparel.